Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Duo Planet, the YouTube channel where we talk all things media. I'm one of your hosts, Aztrael. As always, I'm joined by fellow co-host Slasher.
Hey everybody.
And today we are reviewing the season finale of The Last of Us Part 2, or Last of Us Season 2, for those of you that call it that, entitled Convergence. This episode is a direct continuation from the ending of last episode, where we saw Ellie returning to the theatre after a nice set of flashbacks. It's also the episode that probably had the most significance story-wise, because a lot of the stuff that we've been through so far has been sort of just required stuff, but for this needed to set up things. Not only did it need to finish out Ellie's portion of the story, it needed to set up Abby's side of the story. And spoiler alert, it does. There are a few things that I question. So we'll start with. Shall we start with the negatives? I think that's probably a good place to start. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way, and then we can move into the good stuff. Bad stuff number one: Ellie is on the Scar Island. Now, okay. I know what Jordan will say to this. It doesn't need to be completely accurate to the game. True, right? But Ellie being on the Scar Island sort of muddles up the timeline a little bit, because at the time where Ellie was on the Scar Island, Abby was on the Scar Island. And when Ellie gets released by the Scars, when the attack goes off, the Scars don't think to just quickly kill her. They just run off and leave Ellie to be. If Ellie was a wolf, Ellie had got the perfect opportunity to sneak up behind them and take them out. That was a bit bad. Second thing that's a bit bad, Ellie washes up on the Scar Island, and either it's the same boat that she was on when she got knocked into the ocean, in which case that doesn't make any sense because that boat was completely capsized by a rogue wave and probably destroyed, or it's a different boat and Ellie was conveniently washed up alongside it. Again, we can look past that because that could just be convenience. Bad thing number three. Jesse's an asshole. Like, I don't know if Jordan feels the same way, but like, Jesse was kind of a dick this episode. Like, granted, he's got a point, but like, man was unreasonably dickish. And he isn't really like that in the game. Like, sure, he's a bit pissed at Ellie and Dina for like running off to thing, but all of a sudden he made it all about him and not about Tommy. And in the game, it's all about Tommy in that section where Jesse's like, we have to get Tommy so that we can leave altogether. There's not really him droning on about needing to survive because he's going to have a kid, which, you know, is fair enough from a realism point of view. You would also be pretty terrified of dying if you knew you had a kid on the way. I did make a joke in that section as well because Jesse says, how about this for something that's changed? I'm going to be a father. And I had to make the snide comment of, no, actually, Ellie's going to be a dad. Because, honestly, it was just there, and I thought it was funny.
And my reaction was just what I always say to Will's jokes more than often is, "Oh God, why did you have to say that?"
And then he proceeded to laugh maniacally.
Oh yeah, it was funny.
What's another bad thing number? What number are we on now? 4?
Oh,
Yeah, bad thing Yeah, bad thing number 4. No Alice. No goodest of girls. Where was my dog? Granted, I would have had to see the dog get absolutely yeeted by Ellie and, killed, but like, that means Alice isn't in the show. Unless they do put Alice in the show, and then Alice is in the show, but they come up with a reason to keep her alive, which, if they do that, show is officially better than the game. Because Alice is the goodest of girls.
Wait, who was the dog again?
When you play through Abby's section in the game, there's a dog called Alice that accompanies you, and in the game, when Ellie infiltrates the aquarium, she stabs the dog, and then you basically get to hear it die.
Wow,
and it's
that's
really dark.
Well, okay.
But also, it was kind of cool as well, because because you don't know at the time that you're gonna spend like 6 hours with that dog, and then you've just been chased by loads of them throughout the entire game, and so at that point you're desensitized to it all, and then it gets revealed that, oh, that's Alice, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, even the dogs that you've been taking out have got names. And that's the thing in the game, where every character has a name to make them more human. And when you're in stealth sections and you're silently taking people out, people will like call out a character's name and then get scared when they don't respond. Okay, I think that's it for bad things. Well, bad thing in general, the writing kind of sucks.
If you guys want as well, I have planned to stream The Last of Us. I have decided on my Twitch, once I'm done with RoboCop, Rogue City, and the DLC for that, on a series, I might move over to Last of Us and do both games over on my Twitch as well, ready for next season.
Which would mean that Slasher would then understand my suffering. Yeah, bad point in general, and I think Slasher will agree with this point. The writing is kind of inconsistent.
The writing has been weird. I do agree with that. Like, Ellie, at one point, she seems to be like this very nice person, and then all of a sudden it's like they flip a switch and Ellie comes to be a dick, but then goes back to being the nice person that she was before. And a lot of characters do that a lot by the looks. The only people who haven't been like that are the people we haven't seen much of.
Yeah, like you have, like Tommy has had consistent characterization, but you've seen him like 3 times. Joel this season has had like consistent characterization. Again, you've seen him like 3 times. Isaac has had consistent characterization, but you've seen him 3 times. And then the most egregious one, because they're going to be the main character next season, Abby has consistent characterization, but you only see her 3 times. Well, 4 times actually, if you count the ending, but I count that as 1 because it's a direct scene after. Right, enough of the bad, because the bad just drags you down. So now let's talk about the good of this finale. And the good, I'm gonna immediately come out and say it. Caitlin Dever as Abby, sign me up.
As much as people want to like say that, like, do those memes where it's like, oh, that's not my Abby and stuff like that, I'm gonna just sit here and be like, cool, good for you, but this actress is fucking good.
Hashtag my Abby. Hashtag my Abby. Because the confrontation in the theater could have been significantly messed up if the Abby performance wasn't nailed. Like, you've got to go into your headspace here and imagine she's just found her love interest in Owen, and one of her friends who was pregnant in Mel after she's escaped from the wolves and the scars trying to kill her, after she lost Yara, who none of you know that haven't seen the games, but trust me, Yara exists, die, and then she's had to go and chase down Ellie to get revenge, and it's that vicious cycle that just keeps like continuing and continuing. Like Abby killed well, Joel killed Abby's dad. Abby killed Joel. Ellie killed Abby's friends. Abby's now come to kill Ellie.
It's a
And
vicious cycle that it's a vicious cycle that will just keep on festering. It will just be, oh, you killed this guy, I'm gonna kill this guy. You're gonna kill this guy, I'm gonna kill this guy. The thing is, revenge can only go so far.
Like the guy in the first episode said. Seth retorts with, "These assholes don't deserve mercy," and the religious guy, oh well, the guy that says he's not religious but like quotes like something the Bible says about mercy, goes, "Well, if they did, it wouldn't be mercy."
Mm.
And I think that is probably the best piece of writing this season, because it goes to show how easily it could have been avoided if instead of seeking vengeance, they sought to rebuild.
Yeah.
And like, granted, if they had done that, then there'd be no season 2. But obviously, we needed the story. And we'd have not seen Caitlin Dever's Abby again, because that character is going to be probably really, really good in the 3rd season. And I think it's going to be even better because if they're smart, and as much as I shit on the writing, like I believe that these people are intelligent and that they will listen. Like all it takes is to not like mischaracterize characters that you've already written. Like these are the same people that like made the game. Like Neil Druckmann made the game. Craig Metzen created the
if
franchise.
I remember correctly, one of those guys in an interview did say that there is stuff he wanted to do in the game that he couldn't do, so he's brought it back for the show.
And that would be well and good if the game had been received well. Because then people would be like, oh, we're getting more of the good stuff that we got in the game already. But you've got to remember how The Last of Us 2 launched, and like how badly people shit on that game for like it's not just the thing, but its story was the main thing. Like people agree, I agree, that The Last of Us 2 has a mediocre to bad story, but phenomenal gameplay. And it really does. But because you don't get any gameplay in the show, and because they remove most of the gameplay segments because of that, you get this sort of hollow, lackluster void of mischaracterization. Like characters like change in scene. Like 1 minute Ellie was happy-go-lucky, jokey. The next she was cold, calculated killer. 1 minute Dina was carefree and thing. The next she's the most serious person on the planet. Like it's those little like character switches that are getting flipped as like the writers need them to act a certain way that make it harder to connect with the characters on a deeper level. Like I don't know about you, but the first season of The Last of Us, like the show, I connected quite deeply with like even Tess, Bill, and the other guy, Fred or whatever his name was, Marlene, Joel, Tommy, Ellie, like all of the characters I connected with, and I enjoyed them being around. This season I couldn't stand Ellie half the time.
Ellie came
Like
off like she had changed so much.
not that she had changed, but the fact she hadn't changed. Like it was supposed to be 4 years in the future, and Ellie was still acting like she was 14. Like, cracking the jokes and jumping about like you know, carefree like she was in the first game and the first season. When after Joel died, she should have had a switch flip in her head, and she should have become laser focused on like killing Abby and her friends.
Mm.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that I have high hopes for Caitlin Dever's performance.
Which, far as we
I'm
can
also
tell, far as we can tell, next season will probably be an entire season with Abby until we get to the point where she goes into the theater.
there'll be another flashback episode. So we take a flashback episode off from the episode count. Let's say they do 7 episodes again. That means 6 episodes of story, 3 days of Seattle, which means 3 episodes right there. Maybe they split a day into 2 sections because the Abby section's long enough to do that. Potentially a prequel thing. Maybe they show us like the Salt Lake Fireflies in greater detail to make us feel worse about them dying. That could be a potential.
Mm.
But stuff like that. It will be an Abby season. Don't expect to see much Ellie. Don't expect to see much Bella Ramsey. No Isabel Mercedes, Dina. It will be.
It'll probably end the
Salt Lake
same
crew.
way. It'll probably end the same way.
I don't actually think it'll end the same way. I think that'll be a cliffhanger for one of the episodes.
I think the way it'll probably end is we get a scene of her going into the theater, and maybe that she goes
Well,
in,
no,
and
because
then we don't see her go in.
after the confrontation that you saw there with the no, hang on. After the confrontation that we see at the end of this episode, Ellie and Abby actually do get into a fight.
Mm.
So that has to happen as well because that is part of Abby's side of things. Like you don't experience that fight from Ellie's point of view, you experience it as Abby. So we would experience it from Abby's perspective until the very end where we switch back to Ellie's. But yeah, I'm excited for thing. Another good thing, foreshadowing. Your boy did enjoy seeing the operating table in the aquarium, because that connotes to me that indeed we are getting Yara and Lev, which then also means we're also getting the Rat King, because Abby will have had to go for those medical supplies unless they change that. I hope they don't, because the Rat King is fucking awesome.
As if they had the budget for it.
They definitely have the budget for it. Have you seen the lack of infected they use this season? After like the 3 hordes we saw?
Fair point.
They're definitely keeping some budget behind so that they can get the Rat King, and the budget will probably go up for season 3 because that's how TV shows normally work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm conflicted because I want to like the show. Like, I want to like it, and I'm trying really hard to enjoy it, but I keep feeling like every time I'm starting to enjoy it, they put another scene in that makes me go, "Oh God, not this again," and then I get disconnected. But yeah, that's it. I don't really have
Last time
anything.
you went quiet.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. Like I'm excited to see what happens in season 3, purely because I'm excited to see what this new cast does. Especially considering we'll see more Jeffrey Wright as Isaac, and that's always a blessing. But if I had to give a rating to not just the episode, because obviously season finale, but the season as well. I would say that this episode I would probably give a 6, and the season as a whole I would probably give a 5.5. Too much inconsistency from me.
I think I somewhat agree. The acting has bogged me down a little. Not the acting, the storytelling has definitely bogged me down, and I feel like I can't blame the actors because I feel like whoever's written this is done a lot to it. That just seems that it's changed too many things.
It's like a combination of the writing being changed, the direction that the actors have been given has been changed, and then the actors are delivering with like differing levels of conviction. Like sometimes it seems like even the actors aren't convinced with what they're portraying.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it sort of disconnects the viewing, because if you notice it, especially, then you sort of amplify your suspicion of, was this really something the actor was excited to like portray? And some of the times I don't think they were.
Yeah, some of the scenes did seem like the actors weren't putting in their all. Like even the actors didn't seem like they were convinced what they were doing was exactly what they should have been doing. But overall, yeah, I think I agree with you on those ratings.
And it sucks to rate it so low.
Really does.
Because like I think first season we ended with like a rating of like an 8 or maybe even a 9. But like this season has just been a big downgrade. And I hope they fix it for season 3, because I would love to rate it high. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think we've hit it on the head right there.
Well, that has been our review / reaction to episode 7 of season 2 of The Last of Us, titled Convergence. I've been one of your hosts, Azteral.
I've been your Slasher.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that garbage that YouTube asks you to do. Let us know what you thought of the season and of the direction of the show. Let us know what you're excited to see in season 3. And yeah, we'll see you for whatever the next video is, which will probably be... What's the next series that comes out that we have to review? Ironheart?
If you want to do Ironheart.
Yeah, I think it's Ironheart is the next one. I can't think of like what is the actual next one outside of Ironheart. So yeah, potentially Ironheart. But yeah, see you next time.
See you next time.
We forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them. It's over, Anakin!